Before the break, we got a live report from the city of Jackson, Mississippi, the capital city, the largest city in the state, a place whose residents are now living in a state of emergency with no clean water. Unacceptable for this crisis to be unfolding on this scale in a major American city. So I want to talk knows about disasters and systemic failure and chaos in major American cities and how to fix it. Joining us now is the fix-it guy, the retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Russell Honore. Back in 2005, after he was called in by then-President George W. Bush to manage the response to Hurricane Katrina, he became known around the world as the John Wayne dude who could get stuff done. He was then called in after January 6th to deal with the security around the Capitol. General, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Let's talk about this. You don't think that these infrastructure failings that you and I have talked about over the years, starting with Katrina and Houston with the flooding and Flint and all of this stuff, you agree they shouldn't even be started in 2022, let alone have trouble getting them remedied?
Yes, sir. Over the years, our infrastructure has decayed. We saw it in Katrina. The pumps that were designed to pump the water out of the city were built in the 1930s. The underground system that carried the sewer and water in New Orleans was over 50 years old. Some of them were made out of clay and wood. And today, 25% of the water cleaned in New Orleans for the drinking water is lost through the pipes, which is endemic across the country. Old pipes, as in the case of Jackson, that they're trying to repair. And when you lose the pressure as a result of a storm, as in the case of this flooding that disrupted the water plant, those pipes lose pressure and the sewer water to street water gets into the pipe and it pollutes the water system. This is indicative of the 145,000 public water systems in America. Over 35 to 40% of them are at risk. In Louisiana, of the 1,250 water systems we have, 450 are at risk. This is a national security issue for our nation. Our water systems need to be rebuilt, and people are confused because the taxes you pay do not pay for water. You pay for water with your water bill. That's how it's funded.
So one of the issues is that none of this is sexy stuff to talk about, right? Electricity, infrastructure, road infrastructure, and water infrastructure. We talk about roads when a bridge collapses. We talk about power when a grid fails. We talk about water when a city floods and doesn't have drinking water. On one hand, it's just bad planning because infrastructure is the kind of thing we should be planning for 100 years. On the other hand, every one of those examples you gave me and every example you and I have talked about failed infrastructure in America has something in common. Low wealth people and people of color.
It's exacerbated in the poor communities because they try to, particularly with water, Alan, they try to keep the prices low. They pay about $20 for water in Jackson. The EPA estimated some years ago when we were dealing with the failure of water in St. Joe, which we had to replace the entire system for 500 people, cost $10 million. They get clean pipes, new system put in. When you look at the impact of what people pay, it costs about $32 to get clean water to your front door. So people get confused because in many places in the South, they combine your water bill, your garbage bill, and your wastewater, your sewage bill in one.
Yep.
So they're paying $70 or $80 and they think, oh, I'm paying a lot of money for water. They're not. If you're not paying at least $32, that water system is not sustainable.
But no one will win an election by saying you pay $20 for water, it should be 32. You pay this much for electricity, it should be this. You made this much for wastewater, it should be this. It's just not that. I mean, we're in a weird political system as it is. But even 15 years ago and 25 years ago, when all of politics wasn't broken, nobody ever ran an election on I'm going to fix your infrastructure. How do we fix that? Because they call guys like you every time something goes wrong and says, fix it. But you can't fix the pipes. You can fix people who are stranded in their house. You can't fix pipes. You can't fix power lines. You can't fix drains. You can't fix dams.
Unfortunately, when the cameras leave, it becomes another issue that local governments got to deal with. We need a national program to rebuild our water infrastructure because as we see unfolded in Jackson, it's a crisis. People could die for a lack of clean water. and those who are locked in their home and don't have means to go get it. And good thing the local politicians are working hard with people. And I'm on my way up to Jackson this morning once we finish this interview to check in on my friends with the Cajun Navy and the Red Cross that are on the ground trying to help people. But that being said, we've got to fix our water infrastructure. It is time for the United States government to put together a commission to determine a way for every public water system to be redone, to be rebuilt. We've been fixing things. It's time for us to replace and replace water systems, not just fix it. Every 45 seconds, a water line break in America. This is ridiculous. It's time for us to fix this. Yesterday in Louisiana, New Orleans had 6,000 people on boil water. Shreveport, they had the entire city. Jacksonville had a good part of its city under boil water. It's time to fix the water infrastructure, Ali. And that came about after the Clean Drinking Water Act in the 1970s that mandated this. Now all those pipes are deteriorated and they're coming to roost at one time. And unfortunately, Jackson is bringing to everybody's attention, and citizens need to go to the public meetings at the county and parish level and city and said, what are we doing to replace our water lines?
That last sentence applies to everything in politics today. Citizens need to go to their local meetings. Could be city council meetings, could be water board meetings, could be school board meetings, could be anything. Get involved in how your place is governed. General, good to see you again. Thank you for being with us. Thanks for what you're doing. Maybe we'll talk to you from Jackson when you're up there. Lieutenant General Russell Honore, former commander of Joint Task Force Katrina and the founder of the Green Army.